Being a parent isn't always an easy job. Adopting someone's children when you marry their mother can sometimes be even harder. It can be a very loving and rewarding experience though if someone puts in the time and effort to see it through. Someone forgot to tell Gerald Uden this though. Gerald was a rugged outdoorsman who loved to hunt and fish. He loved guns of all types and was knowledgeable about almost any kind of firearm that there was. This is what brought him to come into contact with the newly single mother of 2 boys, Virginia Uden. Virginia's grandfather had left her a rifle that was very old, and one day when she was out at a local bar, she bumped into the cowboy type, Gerald. They soon started flirting and the conversation soon came around to the topic of being outdoors and hunting. She told Gerald that she was looking for an appraiser to come look at the gun because she was having a hard time raising her 2 young sons, Richard who was 12 and Regan who was 10. He told her that he would be glad to look at it, and when he did, he told her that it wasn't worth that much. One thing led to another, and before long, they soon started dating and was married before they knew it. The marriage didn't last long though. Before the end of it, Gerald did get close to the 2 boys and often took them fishing and hunting, and soon he adopted them. Just like that though, the marriage was over faster than it began. He was ordered to pay child support and he did. He still went and got the boys for his visitations and all was okay for a while, that is until he started dating his new neighbor Alice Prunty, who was a 37-year-old single mother of 5 children of her own. The couple married in 1974, and although they loved each other and got along in most ways, there was one thing the couple often fought and argued about: Gerald's ex-wife Virginia and him having to pay child support on the 2 boys. Alice felt that the monthly payments were draining them dry, and she soon grew to hate Virginia, who had moved to the same town, which was Riverton, Wyoming. On the morning of September the 12th of 1980, Gerald was supposed to take his 2 sons bird hunting and invited their mother Virginia to come along with them. Earlier that morning, Gerald and his new wife Alice had been arguing all morning over their finances and all of the money that was being sent to his ex-wife for child support. That morning, he made up his mind that the fighting was going to end, once and for all. He took Virginia and the boys out to the country in his mother-in-law's red station wagon. Just as soon as Virginia got out of the car, he raised his .22 rifle and shot her in the back of the head. The boys, naturally, were horrified when they seen what had happened to their mom and began to run. He raised his gun and shot the elder boy, Richard, in the back of the head and killed him instantly. He saw the younger child running through the field and the poor child tripped, and Gerald coldly and cruelly walked up and shot young Regan at point-blank range, killing him as well. When he was finished with his carnage, he picked up the bodies and loaded them in the station wagon and threw the bodies down an abandoned gold mine. He then ditched the station wagon and tried to torch the car, but didn't succeed. He then went home and acted like nothing had happened. It wasn't long before Virginia's mother was looking for her daughter and grandsons. She knew that they had had a day planned with Gerald, and when she mentioned calling the police, he offered to drive them around to look for them. Obviously, when they didn't find anything, she went to the police. They interviewed Gerald, Virginia's ex-husband, who was the boy's father, and their investigation hit a wall and soon the case became cold. September 19th, which was 2 weeks after the family vanished, Virginia's mother had received a letter which was typed, which was supposedly from her daughter, saying that her and the boys were fine but were in trouble and that they were traveling and staying with friends. Shortly after, the police found her abandoned car which had the same type blood as her daughter and boys. She knew then that her daughter had been murdered. In 1982, the Udens along with Alice's daughter Erica had moved to Chadwick, Missouri, where they bought a 100-acre farm and raised pigs. They also started a trucking company where they did very well financially. All went very well, for a while. In 1992, 12 years after the mother and 2 boys disappeared, Alice Uden's oldest son, Todd, went to the police and told investigators a very interesting story about how his previous stepdad was murdered in his sleep by his own mother. He told the officers that if she could murder him, it wasn't a stretch of the imagination to think that she could have murdered the missing mother and sons as well. Ronald and Alice had met while she was a nurse at a veterans hospital in the early 70s. Ronald was absolutely smitten with Alice, who he said took very good care of him. When he got out, they soon started dating and got married very quickly afterwards. Just as soon as they were married, Alice started to claim that he was an abusive drunk, so one night while he was asleep in their bed, she took out his rifle and shot him in the head. She took his body and threw it down a mine shaft. Strangely, no one really bothered looking for Ronald, that is, until her son informed the police in '92. It took several searches and 15 years of digging until the day the anthropologist called out to the others to call the police and the coroner. Ronald had been found. Alice, who was now 74 years old, was brought in for questioning. She tried to deny knowing anything for a few minutes, but very soon broke and told the truth about what had happened to Ronald. When they asked her about Virginia and her sons, however, she denied knowing anything about it. They knew that she knew what had happened or had been involved in some way, so they decided to try a different tactic. She was arrested for the murder of Ronald, but when they contacted her husband, they told him that she had been arrested for the murder of Virginia and the boys. He all of a sudden blurted out, how could she know anything about it? She didn't have anything to do with it, and he soon admitted to his truly horrific and sadistic crimes. Both were arrested and both were sentenced to life in prison. Alice spent the next 5 years incarcerated at the Wyoming Medium Correctional Institution in Torrington, Wyoming, before being taken to the hospital where she died of chronic illnesses at the age of 80. Gerald soon began claiming that even though he admitted to his guilt in the murders, that it was in fact his deceased wife who had committed the murders, and soon began requesting a new trial. So far, that hasn't happened, and let's hope that it doesn't. Rest in peace, Virginia, Richard, and Regan. If you like today's stories, we hope you'll check out some of the related links below in the description box. Follow us on social media and check out our merch. You'll love it, we promise. Till next time.